Good morning.
Morning.
Hello to everybody, and you will have seen we have a wonderful friend and guest today.
Yeah.
We are so happy and excited to welcome Trisha. Whether you're watching us now or whether you're watching on the replay, you're going to have some amazing insights into all things about Steeking. I'm sure that Trisha will answer other questions as well. So thank you so much for coming on today. If you don't know, I'm Angela.
And I'm Robert.
And I'm Trisha.
Yeah. And we'll be with you. We said normally our Gogglefrogs is here from 10 till 11, every day except Friday and Sunday. We do have 2 days off a week. And this session is probably going to run up until about 12 o'clock, but we don't know. Okay, we don't know how long it's going to run for. But yeah, so just to give you a bit of background, we're all crafting buddies, friends. And when lockdown happened, how many weeks ago was that? A few weeks ago, wasn't it?
7 weeks.
7 weeks today.
Oh my gosh, 7 weeks to today. I was in the library one day and somebody said it's a real shame that we're not going to be able to go to any of the groups as of tomorrow. It'd be really nice if we could do something over the internet. And I thought, I've got a program that we could do that on. So I've got Vimeo. So let's just set something up. Get it set up. Me and Robert, if anyone knows us, we can talk for England. So we could fill a whole weekend up, let alone an hour. And let's just do those lovely things that we used to do when we used to meet up in our little workshops with our friends in our knit and natters. And you can share your finished work, your work in progress. You can ask any questions, and we can just keep connected. And we've got friends, both old and new. And by that, I mean people that we've known for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've also met new friends as well who are really getting involved and part of the community. And this is your community. So thank you for being part of it. And we have a Gogglefrogs website that I'll let Robert tell you just in case I give you the wrong name. But yeah, we've got a website. We've got a Facebook page. So please join that.
I was having a bit of a panic there.
We have got a web page as well. It just needs a bit of tweaking, but yeah. So I'll hand over to Robert.
So hi everyone, I am Angela's knitting husband, and I say that because everywhere we go we get called husband and wife, and it gets incredibly frustrating when it's me shopping and not Angela. And we've been friends for 6-7 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And it's very rare you'll see one without the other. And that's literally true. So when she set this up, I said, come to mine, I've got fantastic broadband, whereas you've got nothing in your little village. And that's kind of how it started. And I do lots of crafty things, knit, sew, tapestry, crochet, weave. I don't spin. I do Lego, which you'll have seen on the Facebook page yesterday. And Brigitte's just said, joined at the hips they are. Both of us married, by the way, to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think the husbands are a little bit jealous of our friendship, because every time I go somewhere, he says, are you picking up Angela or is Angela picking up you? Without even asking if Angela's coming. There we go. And the lovely lady below us, I met for the very first time at Sheringham 6 years ago. Would that be right, Trish?
Oh, crumbs. Yes, it must be 6 years, mustn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
But I think, didn't I meet you before at Leighton Buzzard? Can't remember.
I didn't go to the regional day before Sheringham.
I think I met you the year before at the regional day. I think I went there. But I think Robert was working, which is why we weren't joined to hit that day. There was a reason. But yeah.
And the second year we were at Sheringham, Trisha taught me amigurumi. In fact, I think she taught both of us amigurumi. And on the Facebook page, the picture at the top of me and Angela is holding my little Tweedle puck. That's what I named the thing that I made. while we were at Sheringham. I call him Tweedle for short, though, and he's got the loveliest little tail.
Oh.
So, and that's how I know Trisha. So, Trisha, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh dear. Well, I used to live in South London. Now live in sunny Yorkshire, which God's own county. I've been. How long have I been a member of the guild? Since 2006. People will know me as a past director and membership secretary and treasurer and all sorts of things, but I've come away from that now. So concentrating on running the Leeds Central branch, and we had our virtual meeting last night. There were 9 of us, which is, when you're using Zoom, it's probably about the right number, because if you've got too many, the pictures are too small. And
walking over each other.
Yeah, just trying to catch up with some of my knitting and reducing the stash.
Well, thank you for that, Trisha. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to do our musical interlude, and it's a very, very, very special day because a certain gentleman has turned a certain age. So, ladies, if you could just put your mics on mute for me so we don't get any feedback. We're going to play a musical interlude. I'm sorry, I should have warned you.
Oh, but what an incredible gentleman! What he's done, and amazing how the public have got behind him as well. And yes, fabulous. Oh,
Look at that.
Yeah, 30 and a half and still going.
That's just phenomenal. And #1 in the charts, and all that extra money as well.
Oh wow, yeah. Wow. Oh, it's incredible.
Okay, right. Let's do good morning. Trisha, as your guest, as you're the guest today, should we do top to bottom or bottom to top?
Oh, that's decisions. Oh God, I've got to make decisions as well.
Oh yes.
Top to bottom.
Okay, here we go. Good morning, Brigitte.
Hope you had your mascara on, Brigitte.
Morning, Claire.
Morning.
Morning, Claire.
Morning.
Morning, Denise.
Hello.
Morning, Evelyn.
Morning.
Hi, Evelyn. I hope you're okay. We haven't seen you for a while. Morning, Georgie.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Jackie.
Hello.
Morning, Jackie.
Morning, Janet.
Hello.
Morning, Judy.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Linda Ellis.
Good morning.
Morning, Lindy.
Morning.
Morning, Lindy.
Morning, Marion Dye.
Hello.
Morning, Marion.
Morning, Marion Wildy.
Good morning.
Morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat.
Morning, Safia.
Hello.
Morning, Safi.
And then right at the very bottom, morning, Tracy.
Good morning.
Right, so that was your morning exercise, because you should have all been waving back at us.
It was funny, the other day we were all chatting and people were saying, oh, I sort of wave at like the screen, and we said, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Do that every day.
Yeah. So if you sit there, we're all sloughed over this blooming Robert's decision to put that on this morning, aren't we? We're all sloughed over it. But yeah, wave at us, talk at us, and then if you want to ask a question, just put it in the chat box. Yeah, and we'll be happy to answer you. But you're totally normal if you're waving and talking to the screen. We do.
And before we go through the chat, I did see sneakily in the chat that we have a birthday. So let's just very quickly play this through once. Happy birthday, Adrian.
Happy birthday, Adrian.
So we have 32 messages in the chat box already. Right, Janet says hi. Hi, Janet. Jackie says hello and welcome, Trisha. Hi, Jackie. Denise says hi. Hi, Denise. Brigitte says morning. Hi, Trisha. Wonder how long it'll be till I have to log on. Immediately, she said. Morning, Brigitte. Judy says morning, everyone. Welcome, Trisha. Morning, Judy. Lindy says morning, everyone. Nice to see Trisha. Morning, Lindy. Brigitte says happy birthday to Tom Moore. Dawn says good morning, everybody. Adrian's birthday today. We were supposed to be in Scotland this week, so he's consoling himself by building a workbench in the garage. Lovely day, Adrian. Claire says hello there. Morning, Claire. Safia says morning, Trisha. Lovely to see you again. Dawn says lovely to see Trisha.
Morning.
Joined at the hips they are. That's me and you, Angela. Deborah says morning all. Claire says happy birthday, Adrian. Dawn says Trisha taught me amigurumi at regional day. Brigitte says yes, God's own country. Yorkshire is defo my first home from home. Marion then says
that
morning.
Where she came to first of all. So when Brigitte came over to the UK, she came up to Yorkshire, and she has very special fond memories of the people and her friends up in Yorkshire.
That's good.
Lindy says it's the first time I've had the musical interview. Superb effort by Captain Tom. Hope he has a great day. It's actually Colonel Tom now. He's made an honorary colonel for his birthday today. Marion says over 30 million, amazing man. Dawn says amazing. Jackie says shed a tear. Edith says bad I didn't put on mascara. Safia says that was beautiful streaming. Georgie says hello everyone, that was amazing. Claire says hi again. Linda says good morning all, good to see you, Trisha. Tracy says morning. Pat says hi all. Marion says my Debbie Abraham's mystery box just arrived.
No.
Marion, I think that deserves a video of you unwrapping it after Gogglefrogs. Not during Gogglefrogs, after Gogglefrogs, and then uploading it to the Gogglefrogs Facebook page. Evelyn says, morning, I'm okay, been doing garden projects, glad to be back. And then Marion's just quickly said, too late, it's opened. And Janet is still in bed. Well, enjoy in bed, Janet.
Okay. Isn't that lovely that you can stay in bed and you can still log on and we can't see you? It's fabulous. And I totally get Marion because, well, some of you will have seen me open a box. I got a beautiful gift from my joined at the hips buddy. A few weeks ago, I mentioned one day that I was nearly out of gin. Guess what? The next day, there was a bottle of luxurious gin on my doorstep, and it is still not been opened. And it was so strange. If you weren't on that, Robert said to me about 10 to 11, there's somebody at your door. And I went, how do you know that? So I went downstairs, and I thought, I have no idea what's going on here. And there was a box from John Lewis, and then I came open, and I think it took all of 3 seconds to open the box. Christmas doesn't last very long in my house. Like I open presents really quickly. So I know what you mean, Marion. If there's a gift there, you've just got to open it. So well done. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. So pics, please, videos, please, anything, please. So that'd be lovely. Claire said, what? Still not opened? I know. I've not opened my gin. I keep saying I'm going to open it one day or one evening. But it's sort of, it's so special, isn't it? I might treat myself and have a glassette tonight. Who knows? I'll have a look. So
you have gin cups.
You've got to celebrate this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trisha, you were going to say?
I said Angela will have to open the gin to celebrate Captain Tom's birthday.
Yes.
Any excuse.
It's definitely happening now. Definitely happening. Oh, so I hope you're all having really, really good knitting time, crochet time, crafting time. And I know we're going to get onto the world of steeking soon. because I am so excited about this. I really am, but I know it's got to be. I've decided now when I do this steeking, I think I'm going to do it with Bahram New stuff. So hopefully that'll work well. I've got a beautiful little design that I've seen of theirs. It isn't actually a steek design, but I'm sure I can tweak it to make it like that. It's got lovely little colours all around. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I can't wait for this. Although I did think, if anybody overhears us talking about steeking, it's so close to streaking. So you have to be around.
No, I'm fully dressed. I can assure you.
So because I was downstairs and I said to my mum, and mum says, I said, oh, I've got a special one today. Because mum says, oh, you're going for your Gogglefrogs? And I said, yes. Have you got I've got a special one. Oh, what are you doing? I said, it's all about steeking. And mum went, what? I said, steeking. So I think you've got to be a little bit crafty to understand what it means. So really complex, and I cannot wait. So when did you do your first steeking project then, Tricia?
I did. Oh, crumbs. When did I start it? 2008. So 12 years ago, I started a City and Guilds hand knitting course with Lorraine McLean, and it took me 5 years to complete because I was working full-time then. And one of the things we had to do was do a tiny sample of fair isle knitting and steek it. So, you know, years and years ago I did that first one. So that was fine. And I would suggest, you know, you mentioned that you're going to save your steek for a wonderful project, but I really would advise that you try it on something small first, because it's that first time.
Sorry, go on.
I don't know what it is. Just explain what steeking means.
Well, it's a bit of a misnomer, because steek is just the Shetland word for stitch.
Right.
But it's come to be known as the process of adding some more stitches into a garment so that you can knit in the round, which makes Fair Isle hugely easier. And then you chop it down the middle to create a cardigan out of a tube of knitting.
Wow.
So you can put steeks in the front to do a steek for to make a cardigan. You can do a tube of knitting and then add some steek stitches for the armholes, so that you can continue knitting in the round and then get to the shoulders and then steek for the armhole opening. So there's all sorts of things you can do with it. You could even knit a scarf in the round with a steek and cut the steek and then fray the ends of the steek and make that fringe. So there's all sorts of things you can do.
I hadn't thought about doing a scarf as a steek.
Yeah. So you just cast on lots of stitches, however, you know, you're knitting it horizontally rather than vertically, and add some more stitches, and then you can fray the steek and tie knots to secure it, and you've got your scarf, and you don't have to do any purling. It's all knit.
Oh. But am I right in thinking there's only certain types of wool that you can use?
Well, in theory, you can use anything, depending how you secure your steek. You could use cotton.
Right.
But you would need to secure the steek. If you're using a fibre that's not going to be very sticky, you need to use something. You can machine down the steek to secure it. You could tie the steek ends so that you can create a fringe. You could do also. So in theory, you can use almost any yarn, but the main use of it is with fair isle, with Shetland yarn, or pure wool. It's got to be at least 50% to create that easy steek.
How many projects do you think you've done since you first started?
What, steeking? About 4.
Right, okay.
That's a lot, though. That is a lot. Because
yes, most of them, the jumper that I've done is the biggest one. I did a couple of cardigans for my granddaughter when she was younger, and I've got the patterns and things to show people. But yes, I think once you've done it once, you're away. It's really not that scary.
I suppose it's a bit like the magic ring. So we mentioned earlier on you taught me how to do amigurumi, and until very recently I'd never used the magic ring again because I was so frightened of it. But it's really interesting that you learn something and then you think, oh, I'm never going to do that again, or you get frightened of it. But then when you do it the second time, you think, actually, this is easier than I remember it being.
Yeah, but you see, some things stay frightening, and my frightening thing is Kitchener stitch. So we've all got our little things that freak us out.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, Kitchener stitch is where you join 2 pieces of knitting together, and it doesn't. You don't create a seam. It looks like continuous knitting.
Oh wow!
So you could.
And I don't know anything about that.
So
that's the only thing I've ever learned. So I didn't actually know it was Kitchener stitch that I did.
Oh wow! No, because you could knit a scarf with a pattern, so that if you want the scarf to look as it's draped around your neck, you want the pattern to look the same. Not one. Can't speak. So it's symmetrical. Then you can do it in 2 halves and steek and Kitchener stitch the join, so it all looks continuous.
Okay, well, I've just put it down, so I'm going to go away and research it, find a YouTube video, and then we'll show Kitchener stitch for those that don't know what it is at some point next week.
Yay! Ooh. So the projects, you said that you'd done 2 cardigans. You did
2 cardigans, and then when I was, bear with me a second, when I was in Shetland last year, I did a fair isle class with Don. And
oops. Sorry, you just froze then a minute. You said you did a workshop with
Donna Smith,
right?
Who's a designer from Shetland. She created the barbel hat for Shetland Wool Week about 5 years ago, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. And this is a sort of sample of the pattern. But yes, we did a little steek for the handle of the mug, and just, can people see that? And just sort of tack the ends of the steek down, so it doesn't go anywhere.
Wow. That's gorgeous. I love that little design as well. That is so cute. The fact that they're different as well. They've got different faces. So some are round, some are sheep. I love that that attention to detail that certain designers do.
It's good. The thing I don't understand is using these round a mug, because I think if this is round the mug, it's going to get awfully damp while you're drinking. So
somebody very kindly made me a mug warmer a few years ago, and I've never used it because my tea is never in the cup long enough for it to need to be kept warm. I'm one of these people, literally, as you make it, I could just drink it straight down, boiling hot.
Yeah, you inhale it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has never been used in anger, and it's a pity because it's too big to be anything else.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I love that design. So I'm going to have to research some of her patterns.
Yeah.
Do you Trisha, do you have a cafetiere?
Yeah, well, we used to have, but
is it big enough to use on one of those?
It probably would be. Oh, I'll have to try it out. It's more use on a cafetiere than
because I just think, if not to keep the coffee warm, but just to kind of put round the glass to be decorative.
Yes, indeed. Yes, probably a better use for it.
Right, so your recent project then, which looked amazing.
My jacket,
beautiful,
which is now finished.
Wow.
Whoop. No, it's that way. Oh, you have to do it the opposite way around, don't you?
Yeah, I get confused with that as well.
That's the back, and that's the front. I did post I think I posted a picture of me wearing it on Gogglefrogs. So
you did, and we will find that very shortly.
Yeah.
Shall I play the videos that you sent me of you doing the steeking?
Well, there's in theory there's 3, isn't there?
How many do I think I only have 2.
Oh, okay. Thought there was 3. Because there's one of me doing a bit of crochet to secure the steek. Oh.
Which is this one.
Now I've pressed the steek.
Oh dear me, I sound dreadful on there.
I've got 11 stitches as my steek stitches. I'm starting the double crochet linking on either side of the central stitch so that I can eventually cut the steek. So I'm going through one leg of the center stitch and one leg of the one next to it and just doing a double crochet. There we go. And I shall do that all the way up to the top and again on the other side, and then I shall be ready to cut the steek.
Now, what I've done, what most patterns tell you to do is when you're using doing a stranded color work design, they tell you to do let me show you. This is the steek. Whoop. Once it's been sewn, but you can see the stripes of knitting, so that you've got a guide for when you're securing your steek with crochet. So you cast on so many, 5 or 6, normally an odd number, so you can cut up the center. So you do alternate stitches, either in a stripe, or some people do them alternate stitches and make like a checkerboard going up. So it's very clear in your knitting which is your actual garment and which is the steek that you're going to cut. So it doesn't get confused with anything that you might not want to cut.
That makes sense.
And what I used there was the double crochet steek. Alice Starmore, who's a wonderful designer of Fair Isle, so I don't know whether anybody's got this in their knitting library, but Alice Starmore doesn't even secure a steek. She tends to use Shetland type yarn and just cut straight up the middle. There's various ways of securing the steek. There's a slip stitch crochet method, the double crochet method that I used, and you can machine knit the side as well. So really up to you how you do it.
Wow. I can't believe how intricate your cardigan stroke jacket is. It's absolutely stunning. And I didn't actually know how, because I've never seen a steeked item before. I've never seen the inside, so I didn't know about the stripes that you create, etc. But that's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, on this little mug, see, even on this little mug cozy, we did stripes. Whoops, that way, so that you can see where you're going, so that you don't chop a sheep in half or whatever by mistake.
Yeah, I don't want that. Oh, it's lovely. Thank you.
Shall I show you doing the actual cut now?
Go on then.
Can't wait for this. I really can't wait for this.
What
This
you
is
should
some
have
really
when
exciting stuff.
Now, what you should have when you've done both sides of the steek double crochet is 2 lines around the centre stitch, which we are now going to cut. So arm yourself with a pair of very sharp scissors, and you can start to cut through. Take it very slowly, making sure you're not cutting any of the orange crochet stitches, and you go all the way up to finish your steek.
Quick comment in the video. Could you mute your microphones while we play it? I apologise. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay, Angela, can you mute?
Now, what you should have
I still don't think I'd have
I think one of the
to be able to cut that.
you need a new pair of scissors, I think, when you cut. They've
got to be really sharp, because you don't want to start sort of jabbing at the fabric.
No. So I think it's something I do definitely want to do. I do love the little design that you've got though, with the little sheep. I think that might be quite nice. You could almost do it more like a head warmer type thing, but I don't know what I'd steek it for. But I do like that design.
Yeah. So all you do when you've finished, you've cut it, is then you just stitch it down. You catch some of the floats on the fair isle and just catch it down, and that's it, finished. And then you can pick up stitches to work the border. So it is quite painless, I assure you. And as I promised that I will do some steeking at Sheringham next year. If people decide what they want to make, I would suggest something small. They can bring it along, and we can do the steeking.
Definitely.
That would be great. I think you'll have lots of people saying yes to that. I won't be one of them because I can't Fair Isle. So
it doesn't have to be anything that you've done Fair Isle on. You could just knit a tube and then mark where you're going to cut it and just give it a go. Doesn't even have to be Fair Isle.
Really? Okay.
Really, because at the top you can see my jacket. It's the yoke is plain, so that was. There's a whole chunk there of just plain knitting that was chopped. This part here.
Wow.
So it doesn't have to be Fair Isle. That's just where it's used most.
Okay. Right. Should we go through some of the questions that have come up in the chat?
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to start with one at the bottom. Pat, I understand you missed the videos. I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to post them onto the Gogglefrogs page. They are very deeply hidden within the realm of YouTube, so don't go looking on YouTube for them because you won't find them. And at some point I will remove them, but I'll put them on the Facebook page for a while. Right, let's go up.
You can change YouTube so that you can only view them with a link.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll do that afterwards.
Okay. So Lindy says, I did a small amount of steeking when I did the mini Guernsey for the Guilds project many years ago. Used the Channel Island Guernsey from Gladys Thomas book. Had to steek the arms. Very intriguing. Oh, Lindy, if you do have any pictures, we'd love to see them. Brigitte put on there, she doesn't need a reason to get the tipple out, but they're hung in the ether, so that's why it's appeared in the middle of the steeking conversation. Lindy says the instructions were to cut along the steek, turn in, and hem.
Yeah, which is what I did.
Deborah says, was hoping to learn to steek at Shetland Wool Week. I think a lot of people were hoping to. And talking of Shetland Wool Week, sorry, just a sidebar, Monday's event, so the event next week is about Shetland Wool Week, and that will be on Monday. And that's being presented by Janet. So if you want to know more about Shetland Wool Week because you've never been, like me, then Monday's the day to learn. Marion says, I love Kitchener Stitch. Claire says, Kitchener Stitch, it's Googleable, tends to be used for socks, sock toes, etc. Lindy says, Kitchener Stitch is a form of grafting. Louise says, Kitchener Stitch is magic, but I have to look back at the instructions every time. Claire says, I've not got the hang of it yet, but for weird reasons only relating to me. I bet it's not. It sounds frightening. Brigitte says, I'm glad that Trisha is frightened of Kitchener Stitch, as I am 4 projects behind her in steeking. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was called that, as my mum showed me that years and years ago. I think she means Kitchener Stitch. Sally says, Claire, maybe it's because you're left-handed. Okay. Judy says, Judy says, I need very quiet time for Kitchener Stitch. Janet says, I have the instructions for Kitchener Stitch on a key fob. Very useful. Maybe something we can reproduce at some point. Deborah says, read Kitchener Stitch video. The one that made me click. The one that made it click for me was the Memorize the Kitchener Stitch. Okay, I've put a note down. I will have a look for it and we'll show it at some point next week. Claire says, Sally, that's exactly the problem. You might have been the one being in on the conversation when I was making a hat earlier in the year. I knit right-handed, but sew left-handed, so neither right or left-handed instructions work for me. I'll get around to working it out for myself next time I need it. Sounds like you need a third hand, Claire. Which I'm sure if you ever found a third hand or created a third hand, everybody would.
Everybody wants them.
Sally says, me too. We might need to compare notes. Claire says there are certain jobs where you make a brew and you don't see it again for 45 minutes. Sally says, and then says, Sally, let's, great idea. Dawn says, apparently Kitchener Stitch was named after Lord Kitchener, but nobody knows why. Okay. I'm going to put on here and details. I will research it and I will find out. Brigitte says that jacket is a fabulous piece of work.
Thank you.
Lindy says, lovely work, Tricia. Beautiful design and great colours. Looked really elegant in your photos. Sally then says, so to be clear, those stitches are created when knitting the item with the idea of steeking later. I think she the band where you were talking about your number.
I mean, I think some people have made jumpers for, especially children's jumpers, if they've outgrown them and they've got another child to pass down to, they might have chopped the front up to make it into a cardigan. So sometimes it's intentional that you want to do a steek. Sometimes you can do it as an afterthought if you're going to make something that is going to fit somebody that's smaller. Because obviously with the steek, you're taking out sort of 5, 7 or 9 stitches depending on how wide you do it. So it's always going to be smaller than it was originally.
Okay. Lindy says, Sally, yes, the steek is made from extra stitches which don't form part of your actual item, garment, etc. And then we've got responses to the running at Sheringham. Louise says, me too. Linda says, sign me up. So I think that would be a very popular workshop. Sally then thanked Lindy for her advice. Linda says, how do you steek sleeves?
It's just if you're making, you've got your tube of knitting and you've got up to the armholes, you would cast on extra stitches and knit those in that either plain or with the vertical stripes all the way up to the shoulder, and then you can just cut those stitches. It was how similar to the way we did this, because you're knitting in the round to this point and then you add stitches to create the space where you're going to put the handle through, and then you knit in the round again. So it's just that area, it comes out like a T shape effectively. So you've got that shape at the top, but then you'll have a branch of additional stitches, and then you just chop those when you come to make the hole for the handle.
Thank you. Evelyn says I'm left-handed too. Marion's had to go. Bye, Marion.
Bye.
And then Lindy says, how about a grafting workshop of Sheringham? I'm not volunteering though, as I've still got to get it. So that sounds like another thing we could put on there, a Kitchener stitch workshop.
Yeah.
So now that you've finished your steeking, and do carry on, sorry, people, asking questions in the chat. We'll just keep asking them as they appear. What's your next project? Nothing to do with steeking, I'm guessing.
Oh, no, it's because I'm doing in the Central Leeds branch, we're doing brioche. So I've been making lots of samples for the brioche worksheets, and I'm going to be knitting a brioche stole. Now I've got to find the pattern. Bear with me.
Another thing that I want to do, brioche. So that's in my project. So I'm really
that way.
Pom pom. Ooh.
I'm going to do this stole, which is
wow.
a mixture of brioche and just garter stitch, so it creates a nice texture. So that's the next thing on the list.
There was actually something very similar to that in one of the Nora magazines as well. So it creates a creased and rippled leaf shape effect, doesn't it? And I know when I looked at that, it looked absolutely stunning. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So brioche is another another possibility for 2021.
Oh,
I have a brioche something or other in my wardrobe of stuff to do, but there's two problems with it. One, I've got to do some dyeing first because it's just a natural hank, and you're supposed to hand dye half of it first. And the second one is the brioche, and I don't know how to do brioche. And since then I've kind of seen that brioche, and we're going off topic again. Aren't you supposed to use 2 strands of yarn for brioche?
You can do brioche in one colour, or you can or 2. So it really depends on what design.
Safia says her question is about the crochet line before you cut. How do you do that? I made a cardigan, but I don't think I did that bit right as it's really bulky.
The crochet line. Well, you start from underneath the work, and you bring the yarn through, and you're just doing a double crochet, either a double crochet, which is what I did on the jacket, or a slip stitch, which makes it's not quite as bulky as the double crochet. But it kind of depends on what you're creating, as to what technique you'd use.
And presumably the pattern of what you're using would tell you what's the best way to do it.
Oh, I find
a personal thing?
the patterns are a bit vague when they talk about what steep to use. Some people are very good. You know, the 2 jumpers that I did for my granddaughter came from an Anne Kingston book, and I'm just trying to find, because I did that way, that way.
Oh,
beautiful.
I didn't do it in red. I did the first one I did was purple and green, because not a traditional girl at all. But yes, so those, and Anne is very good with she recommended the slip stitch reinforcement there, and it talks you through it. So people like Anne Kingston are very good. Alice Starmore is, and again, another Anne Kingston book has got pages of different methods of reinforcing sticks. So this Stranded Knits book is really useful.
okay. I'm just making some notes so that when we post on the Facebook page later, I know who I'm talking about. Lindy says the stole looks intriguing. Another thing to add to the lengthening list of future projects. Safia says, "Ha ha ha! The patterns just say steak."
Yes.
And then Evelyn says, "Ah, gorgeous," and I'm guessing that's at your granddaughter's cardigan. Lindy says the tea cozy pattern that we looked at from the virtual wall show last week has double crochet steek instructions.
Yeah, that's the one that we saw last week, and I was awake at silly o'clock this morning, and I went online to We Country Yarns, which is where this came from, and ordered some more yarn. But I've got, because they come in their little project bags, and I miraculously I have the yarn to make that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. These are like sweeties.
What is that?
Yes, I remember looking at those.
They do. These are the JC Rennie little tiny 10-gram balls of yarn. And when the company goes to a show, they're all laid out like, sweets. So you just go around but I've ordered some more now. But I have enough for the time being to do the tea cozy.
Can you show the bag again, please, Trisha?
Oh.
Project bag.
Oh, look.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. It's gorgeous yarn.
Just said, I love the bag being Scottish. Yeah, it's just so like it just stands out a mile. So effective and simple. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. So that's how I was spending the small hours of this morning looking on their website. They've got they do lots of sets of those tiny balls of yarn, and they've got shawl patterns and all sorts of things that you can make from those little balls of yarn. So it's it's a bit addictive.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That was brilliant, thank you. And if people do keep asking questions, if you have any.
And Lindy said that the tea cozy pattern that we looked at from the virtual wool show last weekend, was it last weekend or the weekend before? I can't remember. But that had a double crochet steek. That had double crochet steek instructions. And I think on a tea cozy, you want it sturdier, don't you? Around that steek edge, so that's possibly why they're using the double one.
No, this is an example of a very good pattern.
Oh, fabulous.
I'm with Deborah on her comment. She says, love the wee country yarn mini balls. I treated myself to a pizza box of colours last year, but haven't used them as they're too beautiful in the box.
You buy a pizza box of them. Oh my word. I'm like, you know what? Having this going, I cannot believe how many different companies I'm finding to purchase things from in the future. I know yesterday there was just the most colourful one, but those little, like you say, they're like sweets, aren't they? They're just so beautiful. And I think even to put in, even if you've got other wool, to buy some of that just for some beautiful colour to put in there. So it's certainly a purchase that I will make. Not today though, because I'm making one already. So I'm not making another purchase today. I wonder if there is a K&CA where we could go. Knit and crochet. Is that association? Or have I got that totally wrong, Brigitte? Sorry. Just a comment there. So that may be me. So sorry. I'll ask Robert.
And not, what?
If there is a knit and crochet anonymous, I do that now. Yes.
This is a 12-step program, I think.
I think you mean a 12-stitch program. Sorry, I was trying to get a picture of the pizza box for there we go, for Angela. That's the pizza box that Deborah's talking about.
Oh my word. What? But why would you want to? I mean, that's to look at, isn't it? It is to open and just like, oh, wonderful. You don't actually do anything with that. It's just beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Too gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. Oh. So I think if we've got any wool in our stash, if it's at least 50% wool, then it's fine to steek with. Is that right?
Yeah, but as I say, you can use other yarn, but the easiest ones to use are ones that are at least 50%.
That's fine. When I get home, I will peruse in my stash and find what has over 50%. And I might use it for some steeking. Judy says, repeats box, close your mouth, Angela. Yeah, I know. Whenever I see something, it's like, whoa. I'm very expressive. You can tell if I like something and certainly if I don't. So I'm quite embarrassing at times when I go out, and if somebody serves up some food in a restaurant, I think, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. Or certainly cake wise, if somebody gives me cake and I think, I'm sorry, that's not up to scratch, you will certainly know.
You don't play poker then, Angela?
But you know what? The thing is, I'm not actually a bad liar. And so I can actually play poker when I intentionally want to. So I can play jokes on people, and I can sort of tell little lies as well, if I need to. But then it's all in humour. So yeah.
I think I've just thought of a practical joke for Gary. I'm going to order a pizza box of those.
Don't know what's happening here.
Oh, are you all right, Trish?
Robert's disappeared.
Angela, can you see me?
I can, yes.
Okay. Might just
Trisha,
be the broadband.
Yeah, it will come back, but if you want to go to the top left-hand side and just refresh your screen, it will take you out of the room and bring you back into the room. So you'll just have to join the room again, and that should sort it out for you.
Yeah.
I just had a great idea of a practical joke for Gary.
What was that?
I might order that pizza box of wool, and then the next time after I've got it, when we have a takeaway and the pizza arrives, I might go, here you go.
I just love that.
Just
Absolutely.
to see the look on his face.
Yeah, I think that's good. Don't worry, Trish, it'll come back. It'll come back eventually. It's just one of those things with broadband. At the moment, everybody's broadband is running in at about a quarter of the speed because of the number of people using it. So it happens, but it's fine. And Brigitte says that she can see us all, so that's fine.
Well.
Yeah. And and Brigitte said you better have a proper pizza at hand, Robert.
Oh yeah, I will do. Yeah, I don't need to do it on the night when we've ordered a pizza for takeaway, just to wind him up.
Oh dear. Oh, that's funny. Oh. So Claire said sometimes you might not have enough broadband signal. It's the download stream. The download speed is for streaming. The upload speed is what you need to be able to play things like that, to transmit. So it's the uploading onto YouTube for this. So don't worry, it'll come back.
Yeah.
It throws a wobbly every so often. But my broadband is much better here in Yorkshire than it is in my tiny little country.
Oh, I've just seen they not only do a 24 ball box, they do a 40 ball box and an 84 ball box, and then they do a 15 bag selection as well. Wow. No, Robert, you wouldn't use them.
What? Let's just say, Robert, let's go to Sheringham. Let's get you on a steaking thing. And if you can steak and you think, yeah, I've got that, I'm fine, you can buy 2 of them massive pizza boxes. But let's do it first. Oh dear. But they are gorgeous, aren't they? So gorgeous. Right. You know when you realise that you've been crocheting and you think, have I actually crocheted this right or not? This is what happens when you're crocheting and listening and taking notes and everything else. So I know that
I stopped.
I know. Oh, so who's going to be doing some steeking? Anybody got the appetite now and thinking, yeah, I'm going to give it a go? Because for me, it was I don't quite understand how it works, because they just say steak. So I just thought you cut it and left it, and I just couldn't understand how everything stayed together. Now it makes sense that you have to do a little bit of a line, and you also have to put in some vertical lines as well, so you can see where to stick. So it's made so much more sense, but trying to read the patterns is so hard. So yeah, George is saying you should do the practical joke. Definitely. And Claire says that she's got enough projects on the go at the moment. We know you've got some amazing projects on the go. She's she'll have a go if she comes across a project that requires it.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Trish, I've just seen your post on Gogglebox about the Buxton Wall Gathering next weekend. I had a quick look yesterday, but I couldn't see much about it. Have you looked
Yes,
at it?
one of my goals is to do some of the Susan Crawford patterns. I've got one of her books here. Oh.
I'm making notes. Susan Crawford.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is an amazing body of work, because it took her years. She studied lots of the examples of fair isle that are in the Shetland Museum, and perhaps Janet will cover some of this about Shetland Wool Week. But there are some stunning designs in here, and there's quite a bit of steeking too. But they're all classic patterns. And the book is incredibly heavy too. Let's see if I can show you that.
Oh,
wow!
You know, there's loads of these beautiful things. So that's another thing on my list. You know, the ever increasing list of things.
I just realised that that's a coffee table book that you don't want to leave on a coffee table, because
yes.
when people start to come round to our houses again, say, "Oh, can you make me this?" Just like, no, that'll take me about 5 years to make. Absolutely no way am I making that one for you. But that is your own little secret coffee table book, isn't it? Just to look for hours on end.
We had in our Leeds branch meeting last night, we had a new lady come into the meeting, and she knits as her living,
oh wow.
and she creates fair isle yoke sweaters and all sorts of things. And Janet asked her, how long does it take you to make? She showed us one of the yoke sweaters that she'd just finished, and Janet asked her, how long did it take you to do that? And she said, a fortnight. And we all fell about. Just depends on how much time you've got to devote and how quick you are at knitting, I guess.
I know my Nanam, she, you know, I used to go there and I'd say, oh, Nanam, can you make me this? And she'd say yes. And it'd be quite, I'll never forget, there was one, it was, it had bubbles all over. It was a lovely orange colour, and it was a huge, great 80s style cardigan thing, oversized. Went back the following week and it was done. And my dad, we've still got it downstairs, an Aran jumper, real old-fashioned, proper wool Aran, with bubbles, cables, everything, less than 2 weeks, and it was done. And it is still there. And this must be 40-odd years old, and it is still perfect. And she would sit watching the telly every night, and her needles would be going like this, and she could just get a pattern into her brain within 2 rows, and that was it, and she'd be off. And when you watched her, she didn't look overly quick. But she would talk, she would watch the wrestling, she would have a sweet, she would chat, she would have a cigarette, and this thing never stopped, honestly. She would rattle it off because she didn't knit during the day. She had like a big family, etc. But it's just every night. I don't know how she did it. And that lady must be like that as well.
Just fabulous.
How? Wow. Brigitte said her mum was like that as well. Yeah, it's some people just get the patterns. I have to follow them or else I get them wrong. Linda's saying morning from Aldi car park. I hope it's lovely there.
At least we know where Marion is now.
Is she in a queue?
It's special offer day, isn't it? So she's probably there waiting for the yarn.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Okay. Ah.
So that's definitely where Marion's gone, to Aldi for yarn.
Okay. Mustache. Growing, growing, and growing, and growing. You're not going to be able to get in that garage soon, Marion. Honestly. Lindy says that she's almost finished knitting the tea cozy using Shetland yarns out of her stash. You're so good, Lindy. You've been using that stash for, I think, 2 years that I've known of. So you're really good. So not as glorious colours. Steeking will be done this weekend using the crochet method.
Yay.
Yeah, well done. Can't wait to see that. So that's brilliant. And Brigitte said no, the yarn was last week, so there must be something else coming on this week. Linda says she's waiting for her husband. She's not going in. Yeah. So she's been able to sit in the car. And Linda says, watched Hazel Tyndall in action when I went to Shetland in 2013. She was the holder of the world's fastest knitter. She was knitting Fair Isle without a pattern. I just think it must have been something from back in the day. Because when you read a pattern, they were so small, weren't they? Like the words on the 1940s, 1950s patterns, they weren't as detailed as ours.
I think lots of Shetlanders learnt the patterns from their family, their mothers, their aunts, etc. I really don't think they paid too much attention to what is in a produced pattern, because there's an in the Shetland Museum. There's workbooks where people have got graph paper and they've coloured it in as to the design they want to do. So a lot of it is handed down and designed themselves, and as well as the lace, they just sort of make up lace patterns as they go. You know, it's phenomenal.
It is amazing. So I must watch. I've made notes and I haven't put it down yet. So Hazel Tyndall,
who is a guild member as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she the world's fastest knitter for quite a few years?
Yes. Yeah.
And I believe she still holds that title.
Yeah, she uses a knitting belt, which makes it a lot easier to. A knitting belt. Let me go and get one.
I have no idea what a knitting belt is. And just while we've got the interim going, Aldi, it's the barbecue and outdoor cooking week. So that's what it is. It's this week. So I think there must be a few barbecues about to happen. But as if by magic, we now have a knitting belt.
This is one version of a knitting belt, and you put it around your waist.
Yeah.
You put it around your waist, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Trying to. And then you have really long double-pointed needles. These are 40 centimetres.
Right.
And you put your needle, you brace it into the knitting belt. So depending on what angle you need to do it. So you haven't got to hold, you can't really see it. you haven't. Can I? No, it's not going to work. You don't have to hold the second needle. You've got it balanced in that knitting belt which you've got round your waist. In Yorkshire, people use long knitting needles, like you do. You carry it under your arm.
Yeah, always, always, always.
So that it's a different version of doing that. Instead of under your arm to knit, you've got the needle stuck in that knitting belt.
I had never heard of one.
Ah.
Thank you ever so much. And I'm even happier now that the way I hold my needles, I don't need to invest in one of those.
Yeah.
I don't ever think I'll get that quick anyway at knitting. But that's fascinating. But yeah, my nana always put hers under one arm, long needles. I think it's just the way. Don't worry, Robert's gone off. Might be somebody at the door or something. He'll be back soon, so don't worry about that.
There might be a couple of gin.
He may have done, yeah. And Linda says, I've got a knitting belt. It looks like something rude. I don't know what it looks like, but I found out what you're supposed to use it for. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Dawn says that it's actually raining. Oh, we had rain for most of the day yesterday up here in. I've just realised.
Yes.
I've been in Leeds for 4 weeks now, so I could have popped in last night virtually. You're right.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. I had to disappear for a second, but I was listening. No, I think it's 5 weeks, Angela.
What's 5
5 weeks that you've been up there.
Is it? Time flies. I don't know when I'll get back down south. At some point I will. But yeah, the knitting belt was is a revelation. Thank you ever so much for explaining that. See, you've got Steeking and about a knitting belt now. So just got so Robert's back. I know you all miss him. Angela, similar principle as you sticking it under your arm. Absolutely. Brigitte says, the first time I saw my Yorkshire host mum knitting like Angela, I couldn't believe it was possible. I felt exactly the same when I picked up knitting after about 30 years and was down south, and everyone was sat in this room in Nutmegs, a craft room, going like this in front of them. I thought, what on earth are you doing? I've got no idea. I'd never seen a round needle, a circular needle in my life. And I couldn't believe that people were using a circular needle for something straight. Just like, I just don't understand it. So
I won't go back to straights now. Yeah, I'll always use circulars, and then I've got 8 different lengths of cable that I use up to 1.2 meters for a project. Yeah. And then there's joiners as well. So if I was doing anything really big, but I'm not so keen on the joiners, it doesn't slip particularly smooth over it. But
no. Well, I am actually having to make another purchase today.
Oh, there's a surprise.
No, there's a reason for this. So I got to my to do the arms, on my, again, I don't call them sleeves, do they? I'm doing the arms on my cardigan. And I realised the only 5 mils I have are about 80 centimetres, 120 centimetres. So I've sent an email to the spotter sheet this morning to say, have you got any that are 40 centimetres? And this is what I don't get, right? Circulars. Why are they really, really difficult and hard, and plastic cables? I want some with more of a nice, slippy, soft, like cotton type thing. So I've asked the shop if you got anything. I know I've seen some driftwood ones. Trish is going to show me some that are really soft now.
Yeah, these are Chaigo, Chaigo, CHAIGOO, and the cable is really, really flexible.
We've talked about Chicago before. I call it Chicago.
Oh, is that how you
well, I don't
pronounce
know how
it?
you pronounce it, but I pronounced it Chicago. But, I think it's Chiagoo. And we have
All
mentioned
right.
them before. So what's the cable made out of? Because the Knit Pros are just plastic, aren't they?
I know. I
think it's nylon.
use.
It doesn't feel terribly plasticky.
Ah.
But I'm experimenting because I don't use the magic loop method to use socks. So I'm trying a pair of socks on magic loop. These are, I think these are Knit Pro ones, and the cable is plastic, and I think it's got a metal insert in it, and it's got too much memory. It just drives me nuts. But these are.
Somebody
nice.
suggested to me with the cables is because I've got the same thing where I put them in my knitting bag, I roll them up because you can't have them loose.
Yeah.
But somebody suggested to me to put them in warm water before you use them because that untangles them. How true that is, I don't know. I've never done it.
No. But it kind of makes sense if they're just plastic, doesn't it?
I want them like what's it called now that you dental floss. I want something that's that soft. So if I do actually have some that are too long, because I don't ever use them. I've got hundreds of different pairs. Well, I feel as if I have. I just never use them. And then I always get to use them on a small project. And the cable's always too long. And I feel as if I'm constantly stretching the work. And I don't like using DPNs. I'm not a great DPN person. So that's what I'm looking for. If you knew a style, I will have a look at those. But a style that have more of a cotton, non-plastic cable. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
But I've never got the right needle for the next project I'm working on. It's classic. It's never there. It's probably in another project that I've left somewhere, or it's a work in progress, but I've never got the right needle for a project.
I was really lucky. I was given some of the cubic ones.
All right.
So I've tried the carbons, really love the carbons, and I tried the cubics as well. They were lovely. I really liked working with them as well. But we'll see. I don't know how stiff the plastic was. So that's my current challenge. But I've only got two arms to finish off, or two sleeves, and once it's done, that's it.
Done.
I tried my best. I thought, let me have a go, and I just couldn't. And I've got two pairs of 5mm here, zings, but the cable's just too long, so it's impossible to try and knit them. I would be very surprised indeed if someone invents a Wervel cable that'll work. That's what Claire says. Yeah, I just have that challenge. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try. Wow, it's 11:30.
Hey.
that was a very negative sounding.
It's just like, where does the time go? We've just been talking about steeking. We've been talking about different needles. An hour and a half just goes.
Yeah,
right,
sorry,
Robert.
I'm just researching interchangeable cables for you.
You see, he's always on it. This is the thing, Robert. And I think this is what was so good about Gogglefrogs. I'm like, yes, we can do this. This is the program that we use. This is how we set up the emailing system. This is what we do. So I did all the setup. What Robert is absolutely brilliant at is he's the one who's constantly researching. He's the one who sends out the little, does the little welcome messages and stuff. So between us, we actually quite a lot done. So, but he's really good at researching all of that. He always has the music on a morning, doesn't he? I forget to do that.
It's a great team.
It's just nice. It's really nice when you end up working with somebody whose strengths are different to yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Right.
yeah.
So the consensus online is definitely use the sheer goo twist because they have no memory, so they'll always go back to their original shape. They can be used with either twist or spin tips. But you need to make it seems that they're not. You can't just put them on any interchangeable though. You have to buy them with the right connectors.
Yes, they're very. The join is very narrow, which is good. So it's got to be done, but they are expensive.
Well, the cables don't appear to be £6.10. I found a 125 centimeter cable for. So maybe it's just the needles then. Maybe that's where the cost is.
Well, this pair, it nearly £20 it cost. So, but anyway, it doesn't really matter if they do the job properly. That's what you need, isn't it?
And that's what I find. Even when I was doing that yarn terrier berry, it's fine when something's quite large, but once you get the more intricate stuff, trying to pull the cable through, I just don't understand why it's so hard. Why is everything made out of plastic when it could be made out of a beautiful sort of like tiny thin rope effect, and then it would just move perfectly. All you have to do is like make it silken and it will flow through wool. But maybe that's too much to ask. Yeah, so I need 40 centimeters, if not shorter. So, but they don't do shorter normally, do they? It's only for an arm.
What's Robert considering?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just thinking, you know how we spoke the other day about, sorry, let me just put my screen back on so I can see what I'm doing. You know how we spoke the other day about when you want to put a safety line in and using this hole on circulars to put your safety line in and knit it as you go or pull it through as you go. I'm wondering if you were to just simply, if you have an old cable, snip the ends off, whether you could get some ribbon through that hole and use ribbon instead.
I've got dental floss. I could put dental floss through.
You'd have to be careful in terms of how you put. Sorry, see, I'm doing. Oh, you're not the only one, Trish. You'd have to be careful in terms of how you pull it over this bit here, but you could definitely use that hole to attach what you're using.
Yeah.
Might be worth a go.
Might do. I'll have a look. I'll double check if I've only got zings or if I've got some others that I can chop. And I have actually got a faulty cable that I will not use because it doesn't screw on properly.
Well, so
as it doesn't, it doesn't matter if I chop them, does it? So I'll have a go and see if I've got a 5mm kicking about. It's just I can't risk going to a different size because it's on the sleeve, so it will be just so noticeable. So we'll see.
Oh well, if you've got one, if you've got a faulty one, there's something else you could try. You could, sorry, I've just put it away. But what you could do is try a pair of pliers, attach a pair of pliers to there very gently, and then attach a pair of pliers to there, or use a vice or something, and see if you can pull that black cable out.
Yeah.
And then see if you can get some super glue and just stick straight back in this end, because I'm sure that's only going to be glued in.
Yeah, I'll have a go. it's just so strange when you've got the tiniest little part of the project left to do. And I'm now, do you know what? I can't finish the arms, and I just want to finish the arms. Oh,
Dawn's gone to wrap presents.
yeah.
So it's Thursday today. So just as a reminder, people who are still here, no Gogglefrogs tomorrow. We take Fridays off. And we'll be back on Saturday.
Are there some shows, online shows about on Saturday?
I don't think there is this weekend. Trish, you posted one for next weekend, didn't you?
Yes, it's Buxton Wool Gathering next weekend.
And then there was the international wool thing that starts.
Yeah.
That's not next week, is it? That's the weekend after as well.
Yeah. So I think everybody seems to be getting on to the online wool shows now. So it's good.
Yeah.
Dangerous, but good.
It's so nice that I think some of those suppliers who must have thought, how on earth am I going to, this is one of the busiest seasons during the summer with all of these shows, etc. It's so nice that at least they can get some trade. I just hope that people who would have normally gone with the ticket are being contacted, and I'm sure they are by all these companies.
Yeah.
They're being contacted by email, so they know it's definitely on. Because I'm sure a lot of them thought, hey, it's cancelled, so no wool. But they seem to be pulling things around. So fingers crossed. All of our beautiful undiscovered yarn dyers are still there.
Yes.
Next year and for years to come. Yeah. So
I think the Spring into Wool one that was a couple of weeks ago, the format of that was really good because it was almost like going to the show, because you had the site map, didn't you? And you went in and looked at videos, and you looked at there was free patterns, and I thought that was perfect. Yorkshire Yarn Festival did one through Instagram. And you were sort of online all the time, but I don't know whether that worked so well. But then I'm not 25,
No.
so it might have been. Yeah.
And that's what I was worried about because Wonderwall was online last weekend as well, but that was only through Facebook. And I kind of thought, well, I know lots of people that don't have Facebook that would have gone to Wonderwall, so you've got to wonder whether whether future people that are planning it are looking and thinking, will that work? That didn't work, and so on.
Yeah, I suspect it depends what they think is their target audience.
And I really hope that the Knitting and Stitching show are paying very close attention to what's going on and what people are trying, because when it comes around to their kind of summer and then Christmas stuff, that they're going to lose an absolute fortune if they can't have their shows, as will the vendors. So I'm hoping that they're kind of thinking about what can we do as a backup, and they've got months to do it. So Linda says, I visited Motty and Squid website yesterday. Fabulous yarns and wonderful names, but didn't buy anything.
Well done.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there will be a purchase over the coming years at some point. And I think that's where I'm definitely going to buy from there. And not today. I've got to finish some projects off. I have so much here. I really do. So much to finish. But at some point, I'm going to be buying some of that stuff. It was just out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. Oh, and I am going to, the yarn that I was sent. I don't even know which bag it's in, but I got that beautiful yarn from You Felty Thing, and it was like a gift where you can gift to the NHS people, etc. So I'm going to sit there with my dad at some point, possibly later this evening, so he can hold his hands out, and I'm going to wind it into a ball of wool. So that'll be a nice little bit of time later. Oh, so, well, I'm going to have to go soon because the carers arrive at 11:45. So I'll run downstairs and just make sure everything's okay downstairs. I'm sure it is.
Well, that's fine. I was thinking of saying, shall we call it a day? Because we've had a really, really good session. So thank you very much, Tricia, for coming in and talking about Steeking. And we've had our normal Gogglefrogs as well. We haven't done Gogglefrogs Facebook page, but having a quick look, there wasn't an awful lot on it. So we'll do them on Saturday. So do post your pictures today, tomorrow, and then we'll look at them on Saturday. Brigitte says, don't set the alarm, Angela. And I'm not setting an alarm either. I'm not offering to do a wake-up call for anybody this week. Jackie says, bye. Thank you for a great session. See you on Saturday. Georgie says, thank you. Really enjoyed it. Judy says, bye all and thank you. So everybody have a lovely day. Enjoy tomorrow, whatever you're up to. And we'll see you again on Saturday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.